Loading snacks. What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. We're here at AwesomeCon 2021.
Awesome, God!
Listen, ran into our good friend Rob. Rob's been super busy. So much has changed since the last time we've talked to him in person. Look at, see what's happening over here. Rob, speak to the people.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series. And when we first met, I only had one book.
Yep.
Many of y'all were like, yo, story sounds cool. I'm not gonna read 300 pages, get it illustrated, but I can't do stick figures. So I had to find this young man, Purnell Jackson.
I'm Jordan. I'm the artist behind the graphic novel, the Night and Bonnie series. I did the cover for that, and I did a few prints.
We did awesome.
Yep.
How did this collaboration come to be? Like how did y'all meet each other?
We met at a small pond in Howard County called Galacticon.
Okay.
And the wife saw his artwork and was like, yo, I think you need to check this young man's work out.
Yeah.
So I went and checked his work out. We got together after that to discuss pricing and see if he liked the story and we vibed.
Yeah.
Then we went to like a pizza place and grabbed a beer, talked about it, and the next thing you know, we started hashing it out, drew up a contract, and it was once about 5-6 months down the line, we got done with volume 1 of the graphic novel, and thanks to Kickstarter, during the shutdown, we were able to finance volume 2 of the graphic novel. So December, January, we're probably working on volume 3. Once he gets done working, he's got his own project he's doing right now.
It's called Eve of Insurrection.
Eve of Insurrection.
Cyberpunk stuff?
Yeah. So we got 3 books, and during the lockdown, I was able to write my first fantasy novel, Night and Bonnie Chronicles Return Home. So if you like space opera, military sci-fi action stories, Ancient Illumination is the move. If you like sword and sorcery, but you want a little more color to your sword and sorcery, or sword and soul as you will,
I dig it.
then we got that story for you too, and pretty soon I'll find somebody to start illustrating these out too as well. We're probably going to work on the first prologue chapter, because we got the Orishas, the African gods, that are the pantheon of gods that rule over this universe.
That's what's up. So obviously you have your own stuff you're working on too. When you first heard about Ancient Illumination and decided that this is something you wanted to work on, what was it that drew you to it?
So I bought his book and I read through it.
Okay.
Well, he pitched it to me with the Ancient Beings of Light. So I was like, okay, you got me with that one, and you got these different races of people. So I knew, I was like, this is interesting. So reading it, I liked how I liked his writing style, I liked the different sci-fi elements he had. So it was dope. It was like I got to draw this. Like I was seeing it. I was like, I got the vision. I know where to take it. Yeah.
So now that these are done, and you've got this done, what's next for Ancient Illumination?
The 4th book.
Okay.
Because he needs time to work on his thing, so while he goes to that, I'll start at least working on the outline for book 4. But I'm still debating right now whether to work on book 4 or work on book 2 of the fantasy, because I don't want one series pulling too far ahead of the other. So that when people that are really into fantasy and be like, well, you got 3 books in this series, only 1 in the other, can you balance it out a little bit? I want to have it so that I rotate projects, basically. And then we also have side stories we want to script out for comics as well. So either way, it's going to be expanding both universes.
That's awesome.
It just depends on how the people want it. We're going to try and bring it to them. Whatever they want, what they want illustrated, bring it that way. If they want in the literary novel, we'll do that. And I'm also working on a screenplay for a TV show. So yeah, just because I want it, however people digest their media in different mediums.
For sure.
So I don't want to eliminate nobody.
Yeah.
However you take it, we're gonna try and bring it to you.
That's fair. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
So before we get into what your next project is, I want you showed us a coin. Can I see that? I want to see the coin.
I'm a former Marine. I was in the Marine Corps from 97 to 01, so I remember having challenge coins for the military, and so I made my own insignia. That is the Marine Corps emblem. with the 9 stars representing the 9 planetary bodies in our galaxy, as like senators would represent each star. And they train in Saturn. So on the back, it says train in the purple haze. And that's just a made up thing. Now it has nothing to do with dope. What it is, you know why the sky is blue here is because dust particles create a prism which the sunlight goes through, and blue is the color that shows up the most. I was like, what if the prisms are secondary, which would be purple, green, and orange, and purple just happens to be the color that shows up most on Saturn. Since I haven't been to Saturn, I don't know if that's the case, but for my intentions for my story,
based on
you made it yours.
I wanted it to be that way.
Which is what you want to do.
This was a limited edition challenge coin that was made for the Kickstarter, and we didn't sell out of them, so there's about 60 of them left or so. So if you can come down to AwesomeCon and get you one, or if we don't sell out and we're at another event, but once they're gone,
they're gone.
They're gone.
That's it.
So there'll be good collector's items for people to have, in addition to the books, the graphic novels, the art prints, and everything else, kind of tie it all together.
George, tell me about what you're working on. What's your thing?
We're gonna have to walk around over to that side.
We can do that. Listen, we mobile.
But right now I'm working on. I have Orishas. So right there, that is those are 2 Orishas, Yamaya and Olokun, both water Orishas from the Yoruba religion. And so I'm doing a lot of different African deities across the pantheon in the context of space. I like sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi guy. So I was like, what if we had our own type of Eternals? And so I was like, I want them. They're like giant beings.
Really?
That's what I'm working on.
So is it?
They want to expand upon the history panels that are in the graphic novel, but he did a special
This is actually, this is connected to it. So in the first volume, Ancient Illumination, this is Pharaoh kind of adapting into like different deities. So that was him as a Nazi. I gave him like kind of like these like tentacles, kind of like spider claws. You have Zeus, and then you have him as Pharaoh and his father. So I'm already playing with the themes of the gods.
Absolutely. That's dope.
This is the kind of final battle between the Atlanteans. I think these are Greeks.
The Atlanteans and the Phoenicians. They basically give technology through different warfare that happens throughout history. He's the influence of it throughout time as it advances to, they got projectile laser weapons and then floating pyramids and spaceships. He does it all. He basically creates all the stuff that develops here. Some of which, in real history, you have no explanation for how it got here, so people want to make up.
Which is okay.
So just a what-if scenario, this kind of depicts all different. He plays gods to many different people, and he can change his form on a molecular level. So that's what this is kind of depicting throughout time. And you see the little pharaonic headdress and everything, because in this story, he is the original pharaoh. So when he leaves, the title stays. That's why the people thought of him as a god.
Right. And it continued to go on to the next person. That's dope. It's super well laid out. Like I like the way it's like a pyramid. You know what I mean? And you can just kind of follow it all the way down. It's real dope, man.
I just like the layout.
When you have something like this and you're taking somebody's words and trying to put it into a picture, like what's the process like for you doing something like that?
So for me, I start off with like rough sketches. So like as I'm reading, like certain images pop in my mind. But also I think about like what's gonna flow, keep the reader moving through the page, and what's kind of reflecting what's happening. So because Pharaoh was kind of controlling everything, I wanted the panels to kind of be like light energy coming off his hands, like thinking about those elements. But I always think about how like the hands are kind of moving through the piece, and like thinking how I'm gonna guide you through it. But it starts out as a sketch, then I go do the line work, do the color, do the penciling, the line work, and the color.
That's awesome, man. I really dig that. I dig that, man. That's dope. I love the way it tells that story. That's in the first one.
That's in that first one.
That's in volume 1. Listen, I really dig that. What you're working on and what this is, they have similarities to them, right? Like they're built in. They're people of color throughout. You know what I mean? Like those themes are prominent. What does that mean for you as a creator, right? As a black creator, as a person who's, with all of what we've heard and seen and been through, especially over the last couple of years, like, what does it mean really for the two of you to be bringing stories like this to light that highlight people of color?
So for me personally, like the reason why I started my series on kind of Onyx Celestials, that's what I call them, Onyx Celestials, and talking about the Orishas, because I wanted to remind us as black people of like, hey, like African Americans, particularly like black Americans, this is where we come from, this is our lineage and our history, and we have this kind of godhood and agency in our lives, and we can, you know, we have this power in us.
Yeah.
And so that's like, for me, I like wanted to draw myself as an Orisha. So it's like,
Got it.
That's kind of why, that's why I do it. I want to inspire people.
What about you?
For me, it was a matter of taking ownership of the mythology that is created about us. I was tired of kind of being a side character in every story, the exotic character that you know very little about this person or his people. He looks cool, people are kind of drawn to him, but you never focus on their story. So instead of us being the side characters, we are all the characters in my story, and perhaps some other people are the side characters that we can kind of get little bits and pieces of. And for me, it was more like just taking ownership instead of just accepting what's given to us by the main companies, because you can have a black character that they create, people get all hyped, and then they get disappointed when it's not depicted the way that we think they should be depicted, or where they react or the world reacts to them in a way that's not realistic to how.
When the color is there, but the culture is missing.
Exactly. Or basically, people say, I wouldn't have reacted that way in this given situation, and we for sure know the world does not perceive us the way this person is being depicted. So for that reason, it kind of devalues that representation. So I just wanted to make it so, like in my fantasy story, we're everybody. In my sci-fi story, we're there. Everybody is there in the science fiction world that I've created. But we went especially blackly black when it came to the fantasy. As he has a story with the Orishas are the pantheon of gods that rules everything on Nyambani. In my fantasy tale, instead of the common Greek, Roman, Celtic, and Norse gods that we always get, and I love those stories, but I wanted to do something that was more reflective of my experience and had more of a pull for me personally. So I'm sure there are others out there when they read it will have more of a pull to read about that, because they see themselves in those stories and it becomes more solid experience.
So on that note, if somebody's not here, they're not at Awesome Con, how do they read those stories? How do they find you? And then I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. How do they find you? How do they find you? How do they get Ancient Illumination? How do they get your new book?
You can go to ancientillumination.net. That is my author website. And yes, you can get them on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but you will also notice on my website there are direct pay links to me with shipping included to everywhere in the US. Now if you're overseas, you're going to have to email me, and that's also available there because we have to work out shipping. Pricing varies on Amazon, whatnot, but the other thing is there's always a 70% split, which I don't know what they're paying for printing, but I've already paid the printing cost, so once you pay to me, and I can sign it for you and ship it directly to your home, which you won't get that if you get it on Amazon. So ancientillumination.net is where you go to find my stories, all 3 of the science fiction novels there, as well as the fantasy, and also the graphic novels in physical form. You can only get them in physical form either through myself or when you reach Jordan, but you will not. You can find them on Comixology and Kindle if you want the digital, but the physical is only going to be through one of us.
That's awesome.
That's how you get it.
What about for you, Jordan? How do people follow you? How do they see more of your work and figure out what's going on with you?
So for me, you can just follow me on I'm JP Jackson R on Instagram. So I have access to like Shopify. You can find my work through there. You can see it. I post a lot, so you can see all this work on my website.
Awesome, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all taking the time to talk to us. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Listen, it's day 3. We're not even close to wrapping up. It's still early for us. We got a lot more we got to go shoot. But y'all make sure when this is over, y'all check them out. Toodles and Loops. What it do, snackers and snackettes? Did you like what you just saw? Would you like to help us grow? Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/loading snacks, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform of choice. Appreciate you.